Hi everyone, my name is Matt Zimmer and I am CEO at Novvum Software. Today I'm going to be talking to you about integrating Gatsby into an Agile workflow for great client experiences. This is probably going to be a little bit different than some of the other talks you'll hear at GatsbyConf. I'm going to be really focusing on explaining our workflow and how we integrate Gatsby into it to really delight our customers. Before I jump into it, just to give you an idea of what we're going to cover, I'll start off explaining who we are at Novvum, then talking about how we do things, and then really why we choose Gatsby and how it integrates seamlessly into our workflow. So, Novvum is a customer-centric product development studio, and we utilize an agile development process across multiple customer types. So just to focus in on a few things there. Number one, we're a customer-centric company, which means we listen to our users and we build features and products based on what we're hearing from our users. Number two, we use an agile development process. Obviously, there are lots of software development companies that use agile, so we're not unique there. However, I just want you to have that frame of reference so that you understand our kind of thought process and mentality as we go through what our development process is. So at the end of the day, what this really means is we build and manage many products at the same time. So some of you out there probably are building your own internal product or products, and we basically operate the same way. The only difference is we're building and managing multiple at the same time. So same process, just basically how many products we're serving at the same time. So when we break down who the stakeholders are on any one of our projects, we come up with really three of them: clients, managers, and engineers. And really, regardless of whether you're building software for somebody or you're building it internally, these three stakeholders exist. So in our case, a client may be a third-party company that's paying us to build something. If you're building something internally, maybe that client is your marketing department or some other department that needs a feature to be built. But these really translate to any company type. So when we look at clients, they're looking to do things like empowering non-technical staff, reducing job timelines, or decreasing job uncertainty. Managers want to increase their release cycles. They want to have project status certainty, and they want to ease that client-engineer communications that they're really stuck in the middle of. Engineers are looking to utilize the latest and greatest tool sets. They want to work autonomously whenever it's possible and kind of be left alone. And really, they want to reduce that project rework. So once a task is done, they don't want to have to come back and do it again. They want it to be done right the first time. So if you're familiar with Gatsby, you'll know that some of the core pieces of it really address a lot of these issues. For instance, empowering non-technical staff. Gatsby makes it very easy to integrate CMSs that, those teams can really be empowered to take on a portion of the product development without having to come back to engineering. However, Gatsby also enables improved communication by really integrating very easily into a workflow process. So at Novvum, we like to say we do modern development right. What does that mean? Well, we operate fully remote and really as asynchronously as possible. Even our founder's remote. He's in Thailand. So whether you're a full-time employee or a part-time contractor, everybody's remote. We don't have a formal office. Additionally, we try to do things like recording videos or sending Slack messages rather than doing in-person or live meeting times. Number two, we're manageably unmanaged. And what that means is we have small autonomous teams with very few decision makers. And each one of those teams basically is appointed a project lead, and they're really responsible for disseminating information down to that small team and figuring out what that small team structure needs to do, and really only communicating back when it's necessary. But we really trust our small teams to operate on their own. Number 3, we have very strictly organized communication. So we don't just have open Slack channels for anybody to put anything in. We've got a very organized communication process, and really that process governs. So when we say, hey, this needs to be communicated this way, we mean it, and we're not really willing to bend on how that communication process works. Number 4, we operate in a rapid iteration and deployment. Obviously, we're agile, so that's kind of along for the ride. But really, the goal here is to release early and often, get customer feedback very quickly, and really, improve in a continuous manner rather than building very, very, very large features and releasing infrequently. So that's really, how we get work done and how we build products. So as I mentioned, really process governs at Novvum. So our project management board is our source of truth. If it is not on the board, it didn't happen. If something hasn't moved on the board, it didn't move. So we really use that as the source of truth. So if anybody ever is not aware of what's going on, there's a single place for them to go look and really understand what is the status of a item we are working on. We manage everything through tickets. That doesn't just mean that we're putting a ticket on our board and that's all we're doing. Whether it's documents, comments, anything like that, we manage that through tickets. So rather than having open Slack channels, we drive communication through that ticket so that if there's ever any question of did something get communicated on a task, there is a single source to go through rather than having to rummage through really large backlogs of Slack conversations. Number 3, we create strict rules on how status is communicated. So when a status moves from, let's say, work in progress to completed, there's a very clear communication on who can move it and what gets communicated when it's moved and what it means when it's moved. And if something needs to come back into in progress, who moves that and what does it mean and who needs to be told, what needs to be done. So there's very strict rules on how the status of an item is communicated. Number 3, we try to use the tools as they were intended. And what I mean by that is with the flexibility of modern tool sets, it's very easy to really have everything integrate into everything else. And what we find is that when you do that, you lose kind of that one source of truth mentality. And really by using the tools in kind of their base fashion and only integrating when it's 100% necessary, it alleviates a lot of the problems that very tight integration will have. And last, we try not to appease everybody. Meaning, if somebody's got a problem in our process, it doesn't mean they're wrong and it doesn't mean that we can't change. But what we ask is that they bring that to the company and we improve over time with them. So rather than changing on a dime, we're really asking for that feedback and we'll improve our process with that piece of feedback in the future. So we're at the point where I tell you why we use Gatsby. And you're going to hear a lot of conversations today talking about the speed, scale, security, all those technological advantages that Gatsby has and why you might want to use it from your engineering team's perspective. I'm really going to focus here talking about workflow alignment and really the fact that Gatsby allows and empowers us to integrate the tool into our current workflow. So rather than us having to change, Gatsby knows that it needs to work with our workflow and really integrate into what we do. And to focus on one feature, I'm going to talk quickly here about Gatsby Preview. So we use Gatsby Preview alongside our project management board on ClickUp. Basically, if you know anything about Gatsby Preview, it essentially allows you to see a preview of your build very quickly via a web link. So the way we use it is when we deploy, you'll see a Gatsby basically automatically creates a deployment preview link. We then take that link and that link is dropped into our ClickUp ticket automatically. So you'll see a preview link here. And basically that gets appended to the specific ClickUp ticket. From there, when status is moved, people will get notifications that, hey, there's this item for you to look at, and they'll be served that link automatically that they can click on and go to the item to preview and make any comments on that item. So what's cool about this is it actually allows our engineering teams to communicate with our testing teams, as well as directly communicate to our client without having to do it on Slack where it may get lost, or without having to create multiple tickets with multiple access points and manage those. So we utilize the board and the structure of the board to really take advantage of that feature from Gatsby and make it very easy for customers to see what's going on, where the process something is in a build, and at the time that feedback's needed, have a direct line to find where the preview link is for that specific feature and get to it directly. So I know this seems like a very, very small feature, but it's something that basically comes with Gatsby, from right out of the box, and something that we can integrate in a workflow that really delights customers. So coming back to why Gatsby. So number one, it delivers bleeding edge technology. We all know that. That's partly why we're here. Number two, it integrates really easily into Agile workflows, and rather than us having to modify our process, really Gatsby just works alongside it. And number three, it provides clients unexpected benefits. So one of the things I was just getting into was talking about really delighting our customers. One of the things we hear from our customers that come from something like WordPress is just, that experience of, hey, I made a change and I got to see it instantaneously. And that's really become what customers expect. So when we're able to take something like Gatsby that has, of course, all these front-end technological advances, but then when we're able to lump on something that they kind of just take for granted in this very quick iterative cycle of a coder making a change and then seeing it live, they really appreciate that. And so not only do we not have to change our process, but really they don't have to change our process, and their understanding of how development works really makes things flow easier when we can deliver them what they're looking for. So that's really it. I know this is a simple tool, but it really has impacted our business and really delighted our customers when they've seen us being able to deliver this type of functionality to their development process. If you'd like to get in contact with me, my email's listed there, matt@novvum.io, or you can head to novvum.io, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks.
Ready for the live Q&A? Let's go.
All right, welcome back. We are here live with Matt Zimmer from Novvum, who you just heard from. Yay, welcome, Matt. How you doing? How's it going?
Well, thank you. Really good. Can't complain.
All right, so you're having fun today at Gatsby Conf.
I am. I got on early. I really enjoyed Dustin's speech. I just saw Kyle's speech right before me. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. Nice.
All right. Glad you're checking out some of the talks. And really glad that you're here to do a live Q&A with me after your talk. First of all, when your talk submission came in, I was psyched to see the topic, very into it, and I was not disappointed. So thank you again for covering what you did. But I'm going to ask a question that's going to sound a little weird coming from someone at Gatsby, since you just talked about how helpful Gatsby is to you and your team. Okay. But humor me, if you will, and tell me what is so special about this, because I know there's a lot of platforms that provide some of the same functionality. I don't know, it just seems really simple. So tell me what's so special about it. Yeah. When I was kind of formulating this talk, I kind of had the same feeling. And I think, part of the thing is, I think that's the point, is that it is simple. What I think our company has found really, really great about Gatsby is the way Gatsby thinks about building products and really thinking about customers and how customers engage with those products is really how Novvum, thinks about it as well. And, because of that, the product that I think Gatsby is building is really
it's really built for a company like ours to really take advantage of and slot into a workflow that then we can kind of pay it forward, really easy to our customers. So I get where you're coming from, but I think the point is the fact that it is so easy makes it really easy for us to then, provide that great experience, to our customers. So
yeah. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And I'm not going to argue with you. Don't worry. I love this.
So I think there are other platforms out there, but what's cool is I feel like Gatsby is very aligned with us as the customer and builds a really easy product to use.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. Again, I might be a bit biased, but totally agree with you. So if someone else maybe in the audience right now is like, all right, cool, yeah, makes sense. How would you recommend that they could roll this out with their customers if they think that this is the move they want to make?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what we found is customers don't like change. I don't think anybody really likes change or really likes hard, abrupt change. So really figuring out a way to do to implement some of these things slowly and over time, and potentially Gatsby Preview might not be the first thing that you roll out. What you may want to roll out is simply getting that process of, well, how does a review happen? How do we communicate with our customer that's something ready for review, and then slotting in that preview link that kind of pushes a synchronous workflow to an async workflow. Like that becomes almost the easy part, but kind of you really want to think about setting yourself up for success. So when you slot in that kind of async tool, that they're already ready for it, and it isn't kind of this just abrupt, hey, we're going from I show you my screen and we go through it live to then flip into something where you're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Make it small, like incremental changes, but kind of consistent. Make sure that they're supported as you're rolling out these changes for them. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm asking these questions partly because it does seem like the direction that the work structure is headed, especially not post-pandemic, still in it, but there are a lot about work is changing and the way people and teams and clients and everybody works together. So how do you see that these changes, these things that people are doing, do you think that it is, even if they're a little bit hard sometimes, totally worth it? I think I know your answer, but
yeah, I mean, we Novvum really has been a fully remote team for the last 2 years. So throughout the pandemic, we've had an opportunity to really build our tool set kind of as things have been fully remote.
Yeah.
So, the way I think we view it is the tool set that exists today is as bad as it's going to get. It's only going to get better. So I
like that. I like the optimism there. That's great.
So when we think about like, how do we want to design our company? We really want to pick those things that really enable us today, and that are in kind of growth trajectory mode. And we feel like if we can align ourselves and our business model with them, we're going to be able to grow with them and do just fine.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you today, Matt. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I speak for the whole Gatsby team growing with you and your team at Novvum. So thank you so much. I know we're going to be talking again soon. And thanks for being part of Gatsby Conf.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy all the speeches, and I've really enjoyed being a part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you later. And coming up next, we have 2 more talks, the final talks of the day, from Kevin Gervais, founder and CTO of Touchless Inc. He'll be talking about creating the touchless experience for the accessible world. I know accessibility is top of mind for most of us, so definitely check that out. Or you could also go hear Ersin Akinci from Builder, and he'll be talking about how to improve your Lighthouse score with Partytown and Gatsby. So those talks are both coming up in just a few minutes. You can find them in the agenda, join the session, and then join them for the live Q&A. See you soon. Bye.